Hi everyone, and a very good evening to all of you. This is Garima from the iDreamCareer team, and welcoming all of you to a webinar by Thapar School of Management as well as Liberal Sciences. Welcoming all the counselors, fellow counselors, teachers, and lovely students here to this webinar. Primarily, this webinar is all about understanding Thapar Institute, the School of Management, Liberal Sciences, as well as the education around it. Just to start with, a lot of you may not be knowing about iDreamCareer. So iDreamCareer is a career counseling venture who has been into the services for almost 10 years now. We work with a lot of private schools, government institutions, agencies, a lot of governments in partnership with a lot of international agencies, school students, and we also run our own training and certification program to help individuals become career counselors. So today, it is my privilege actually to introduce Dr. Nair to all of you, who's the Dean and Director at the Thapar Institute. So right before we move into the webinar, let me please go ahead and let you know a little about him. So he's the Director and Dean of the Thapar School of Management as well as the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences. He's an accomplished researcher, teacher, and a scholar with specialization in the area of leadership development and sustainability. So before joining Thapar, he was a clinical professor of organization, strategy, and international management, and an academic director at the University of Texas. He was also an affiliate professor at the Department of Material Sciences and Engineering at the same university. He's a PhD from a university in the Netherlands. He's a doctor of engineering from a university of Tokyo, an MBA from a university in UK, and an Mtech in metallurgical engineering from IIT Kharagpur, India. Uh, Dr. Nair, I think I can be thankful enough for you to be here, especially for all these students and counselors who would want to know more about liberal arts and the education, and especially the admission processes at Thapar. Thank you so much for being here, and over to you, sir, please.
Thank you, Garima, and good evening to all. It's always happy and interesting time to talk to youngsters and also young teachers and counselors. It's always happy to do that. I have a little presentation here I'm sharing with you. We're going to talk about future of learning. I'm going to look at learning from a multi or a transdisciplinary perspective. It is not just about learning engineering or medicine or law. It is about looking at the world through the lens of philosophy and history and political science and chemistry and physics and sustainability and environmental sciences. So a broad transdisciplinary view of learning and how the future of learning and education and careers are going to change and evolve. So that's the idea. Now, when you think about the future of learning, there are so many different ways of looking at this. We want to look at it more from the perspective of learning and how your life and your careers would shape, considering the developments in technology, especially Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, all those interesting technologies, how learning and careers would shape and evolve. That's the idea. A question like this, what is a career for, is an interesting and a useful question to start with. A career is not just for making money. It is also not a destination. It is a journey, and for all of you, it is the beginning of an interesting journey. It's a journey, but also it's an opportunity. Opportunity for what? Opportunity to help others, opportunity to earn, find meaning in life, for personal growth. Learning is also a continuous process. It is not going to stop with your first degree. In fact, for all of us, whether it is talking about the future or in the regime of new technologies, human beings have developed because as a species, we have never stopped learning. And also, finally, if possible, express yourself and change the world, whatever the way you will be able to do. So it is a journey and an opportunity to help, earn, find meaning in life, personal growth, learn, and express. A career is for that, and never forget the fact that it is not a destination, it is a journey. We all will get into that journey and continue forever. Now, should we think about money when we think about career? Definitely yes. Nothing can be done if you don't help yourself. So you need to earn. For most of us, earning is very important, but that's not it. And also, your first job or what you learn in the next few years alone is not going to define how much are you going to earn. It's an important aspect to consider, but that will also evolve. And money and thinking about it is important, but that's not it. The fit, the match, your interest, and what you do should have a good match. You should enjoy. You should, what you do should be exciting for you. And also, ultimately, you should find meaning in what you do. And also, when you think about meaning, always remember, as youngsters, you are 17 and 18 and 20 and 25, what you find exciting may not be that exciting and meaningful when you are 30 or 40 or 50, or at my age, I'm almost 60. So money, match, and meaning. Remember these 3 M's of your career. All 3 are very, very important. Now, when you think about learning and career, this idea of success is very, very important. Why? Because every time you think about learning and career, you think about how can I be successful? But interestingly, even though the notion of success is almost central to, I could even say that central to being human, central to making any decision in your life, still that idea of success is typically defined by someone else for you. You rarely think about what success means to me. What success means to me in the next 5 or 10 or 20 years. This is typically defined by your friends or your parents or the society or the civil leaders, always influenced by someone else's idea. Here, what is important is, if you can spend some time every day thinking about what success means to you, will be quite useful for you. If you can define a unique idea of success for yourself and try to get there, I can guarantee you that there will be no competition for you. Why? We are all very unique. So you can define that success around your uniqueness. There will be no competition for you. That uniqueness could be anything. So I have several examples of unique, successful individuals. They rarely followed a standard path. if you if you follow a standard path, it's like making dolls or little images of Mickey Mouses. Everyone would look the same. We don't want our youngsters to be Mickey Mouses. We want them to be courageous, unique, passionate, empathetic individuals contributing to the development of our nation and ultimately to the world. I want to start with the stories of several extraordinary individuals. Here is someone who was born in Norway, studied mechanical engineering, was not a very good student at that time. His grade point average was 4 points out of 10. When he moved to Canada, in North America, it is grade point average is typically out of 4. In Norway, it is 4 out of 10. And in Canada, his employer mistook his grade point as a perfect grade, 4 out of 4. He got a job with a good company called General Electric. And what happened? After that, he started working for General Electric, moved to the United States, kept working in their materials physics division, ended up getting Nobel Prize for physics for the discovery of electron tunneling in superconductors. So studied mechanical engineering, not studied physics, studied mechanical engineering and got a Nobel Prize in physics. So great careers are defined by your ability to learn, change, and adapt. So this is, again, you can say that engineering, physics, there are some similarities. I have even other extraordinary examples of people doing extraordinary things. I have 2 people here particularly. They're very, very interesting for me. Eugene Fama, a Nobel Prize winner in economics. Edward Witten, a field prize, that is the highest prize you can get in mathematics. Look at Eugene Fama. Is an Italian American, Bachelor of Arts degree in French language, Romance languages, MBA, not even MA or MSc in economics, PhD in finance, and got a Nobel Prize in economics. Starting from French language BA, ending up with, he's still teaching at Chicago Booth School of Business. Now look at Edward Witten, a BA in history major and linguistics minor. Got a PhD in physics, got the highest prize in the area of mathematics, field prize. This is how people shape their careers. Here I want to tell you something. This is quite close to my heart. Recently, a week or so back, our regulators, especially AICTE, has come up with this idea that you don't have to study mathematics or physics to apply for an engineering program, a BE or a BTech. I thought this is great because most places in the world, you can't get into an engineering program without studying physics or maths during your high school. It is not that you will never study physics or maths before you start studying your engineering degrees. An open, flexible way of looking at smart people. So you can go in, you can take bridge courses, you might find it interesting, you continue, or you do something else. So that is the way flexible, world-class institutions look at higher education. So AICTE has come up with this idea. It was fantastic. Immediately, I saw several tweets from young people questioning AICTE's idea. So the assumption is that if you don't study physics and maths during your 11th and 12th, that person can never study physics and maths. That's the assumption. Even young people are tweeting against that AICT's new policy, and it looks like they're backing off from that idea. Those kind of narrow-minded approach to education is not good for a great nation like India. Look at it. Somebody studied French, getting Nobel Prize in economics with very advanced mathematical theories in economics. That is his contribution. Somebody studied physics and linguistics, getting a PhD in theoretical physics and getting the highest award in mathematics. I think all those youngsters who are tweeting against AICT's decision to allow students to consider an engineering education, even though they have not studied mathematics and physics, they should read history. These people are still very active, great scholars, great teachers. They should learn from history. And that's how societies change and evolve. That is the future of learning. That is the future of education. Not a narrow-minded way of, because I did mathematics and physics, so I struggled, only I can do engineering, nobody else. I think it is time for us to move away from this inflexible, narrow-minded way of looking at learning. Now I have 4 people from the business world. Founder of Sony, Akio Morita; Herb Kelleher, founder of Southwest Airlines; Steve Jobs, Apple; and Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Akio Morita most probably studied commerce or engineering, I'm not sure. Herb Kelleher studied philosophy and law. Steve Jobs only studied 1 semester, but mostly at a liberal arts college. Jeff Bezos wanted to study physics. He found it very difficult, then finally ended up getting degrees in electrical engineering. But they all were extraordinary people. What is common among these 6 people or 7 people we have talked about? They were critical thinkers. It is not, they did not just look at learning one particular subject as the prerequisite to anything. Critically understanding the world and looking at the world through multiple lenses is what they have done. And they were open to interesting ideas. They were trained to analyzing and evaluating and understanding these ideas and opportunities. Look at all 4 of them here. There are 4 companies. The combined market value is more than $4 trillion. That is at least $500 billion more than Indian economy, our GDP. That's what they have done. We need to educate our youngsters, and we need to create that kind of opportunity and instill that kind of flexibility and open-mindedness. Not that when AICT changes their rule and make it more open, tweeting and forcing AICT to back off from the most interesting idea, or in some sense, for us, for our society, it's a great innovation, because we are quite rigid about these kind of things. But we cannot afford to doing these kind of things forever. We need to have that kind of openness and flexibility. That is the future of learning. So we talked about 7 interesting individuals. Can learning in higher education create these great minds continuously? And what should this learning or higher education do? And how should higher education help our youngsters? For that, I think a good starting point is to understand human brain. And for that, we need to understand how our brain has been evolved. You will be surprised to note that we are modern human beings, but we still carry the old evolutionary brain with us. Our brain is evolved to dealing with the typical problems our ancestors were facing in African savannas. I'm talking about maybe 50,000, 100,000 years ago. What kind of problems they were facing? Simple, dangerous, and problems needing immediate solution. You sight a lion, you fight, or you run or climb a tree. There is no way these solutions can wait. They're simple problems because they're not complicated. You know what the problem is, but they're dangerous and you need to deal with it immediately. Problems of today are contemporary problems. They're complex, not so dangerous, and in most of the cases, solutions can wait. Higher education is all about training our evolutionary minds, training our evolutionary brain for dealing with complex, not so dangerous problems, cognitively nuanced problems. That is the role. To summarize what higher education should do is definitely help our youngsters to know themselves, what we call self-knowledge. They should also help us or facilitate or instill the notion of constantly seeking excellence. Excellence is an interesting idea. Think about it. Starting from, the second you wake up and you do things, some things you just do for yourself, and most of the things, especially with age, most of what you do would be for others. Look at your parents. So one of them would prepare food for you. Typically, our mothers could also be our father. When you cook food, you are not typically cooking for yourself, of course, for you and for others. And I am sitting here and talking to you. I'm happy that I'm doing it. I have satisfaction of doing it, but also it is for you. Whenever we do things for others, the starting point should be empathy. And when you empathize, the next step is a need for doing it better than before. So that the idea of excellence seeking starts with empathy and a temperament for doing it better than before. So higher education should not only give you self-knowledge, also instill this temperament of doing it better than before. And finally, it should give you intellectual humility and intellectual freedom so that you can courageously dream and shape the new India and the new world of your dreams. This one, before I move from this slide, one important point I want to make. What makes us human is our extraordinary ability to empathize with our fellow human beings, with animals, with plants, anything living. We can extraordinarily empathize with them. So that extraordinary empathy is what makes us human, and that extraordinary empathy should help us constantly seek excellence, and higher education and learning should give you that opportunity. Finally, future of learning, education, and careers. No discussion on future of learning would be complete without looking at what advances in artificial intelligence and deep learning and neural networks are doing to careers and what we actually do in the future. To answer that, I want to start with a simple question. That question is, what a medical doctor can do which machines can't? Very simple question. All of us can relate to that. When you go to a doctor, typically, I'm not talking about that kind of a serious illness. Our typical doctor's visit could last for about 20 minutes. Doctor would feel your chest, look at your throat, maybe your ears, your eyes, check your temperature, and to tell you, you go and rest, take this paracetamol or some antibiotics, mostly not. So that's what you do 99.99% of the time. In a week, two, you're okay. But if you look at, I have a cheap smartwatch here with me. It constantly monitors my heart rate, my movements, my sleep pattern, my skin temperature, my blood oxygen level. And this device would know a lot more about my health than a 20-minute doctor visit. So the answer to this question is probably not that much. Also, remember, these kinds of devices are constantly, every a fraction of a second, it is collecting a data point. That means combined, these devices are collecting trillions of data points, and using smart algorithms, we can always identify interesting patterns even without good causal explanations. Just simple correlations themselves could provide us with a lot of useful ideas for dealing with health conditions. So that is the time we are living in. Think about it. Then what is stopping medical profession from going through a disruptive change? Again, answer is simple. Our regulation, our ability to make the right rules and regulations is not catching up with the technological advances. We have social media, we have all sorts of connectivity all the time. Governments and lawmakers and police, they are not sure how to deal with certain kind of actions and behaviors of people, because technology is fast moving forward, rule making is always slow. There is a lag. Considering all this, what is the message? The message is very simple. Nature of jobs are changing. If nature of jobs are changing, learning and education should catch up with the change in the nature of jobs. Here, I have a real picture of a Toyota production facility near Nagoya in Japan. I had the fortune of going there about 25 years ago and also about 2.5 years ago. 25 years ago, I saw unfinished cars moving slowly. People are standing there and assembling. Today is a place with so many robots, crowded, but they don't bump into each other because they are controlled by smart algorithms. So this is what is actually happening. Now, look at what happened in the last 200 plus years, starting with steam power to electricity to automation to this current intelligence revolution. What happened with steam power? It practically replaced most jobs needing power and speed. Electricity and automation combined replaced most jobs needing precision and repetition. Now what is happening? Internet of Things, deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence systems are abstracting simple and useful patterns from large sets of data. We are not capable of doing it. So whatever little we used to do, we are not. Now machines can. But still, human beings are extremely good at abstracting simple rules from small data sets, and when there is serious conflict with respect to morality, ethics, and other kind of societal or stakeholder complications with expectations. So even though these developments are removing or replacing human beings from these jobs, but several millions of new jobs are going to be created because of all these technologies. There was an interesting book written by someone here, Scott Hardley. He has been following what is happening at the Silicon Valley in California. His hypothesis is liberal arts graduates are going to lead the digital world. So it is not just about programming. What is happening is, with the time in the next 20 years, most software, typical softwares will be written by other smart algorithms. So what is actually going on is you can classify all the future jobs into a framework here. One axis is manual or cognitively complex, routine, kind of repetitive, or non-routine. If those jobs are cognitively complex and not repetitive, non-routine, that's the area most jobs are going to be there. And good interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary education with a good liberal arts and sciences foundation. And then you can go on majoring in chemistry or economics or psychology or cognitive science or computer science or business analytics or consumer behavior or marketing, that you can do, but with a solid foundation in liberal arts and sciences. What is a solid foundation in liberal arts and sciences? You study a bit of psychology and history and philosophy and political science and writing and some creative skills and maybe a bit of art theory and anthropology, that kind of a foundation, and then majoring and going on to doing a master's or a PhD. That is the type of education you need if you want to rule the new digital world, or what we call career 4.0 in the regime of industry 4.0. That's the idea. So most jobs are going to be on the top right quadrant. Thapar University, 60-plus-year-old university with a solid engineering and business root grounding. And we also have programs already in the area of psychology, economics. Economics, we have PhD program. Psychology, we have master's and PhD program. And last year, we have founded a very interesting school in the area of liberal arts and sciences with faculty coming from all over the world, not just Indians with a PhD from abroad. We have those. Also, we have people from Australia, people from Italy, and we are constantly adding people from all over the world. That's the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences. You can see Thapar University, you can study engineering, bachelor's degree or master's, or science, master's and business administration, psychology. But School of Liberal Arts and Sciences draws ideas and expertise and faculty members from all these schools. And we also have a core faculty of top class researchers, teachers, and scholars. We have PhDs from the US, Germany, Netherlands, Scotland, Australia, Italy. So we have a very good group of world-class teachers and researchers. You can do a BA, BSc, BBA, or BCom with the Liberal Arts and Sciences Foundation. The starting point, the philosophy is this: what we are today comes from our thoughts of yesterday, and our present thoughts build our life of tomorrow. Our life is the creation of our mind. And that is what we are trying to do, creating that mind, that ability to see the world through a transdisciplinary lens. That is the idea of liberal arts and sciences. So most of our graduates look at one of 20 plus majors. You see here, I've listed 5 of them. It is not 5. Look at, for example, BBA. You can specialize in data science and business analytics, marketing, operations, information systems, international management, business analytics, supply chain management, you name it. We also have BCom with all those specializations, BA economics, BSc mathematics, physics, material science, engineering science, environmental sciences, psychology and cognitive science, computer science, and artificial intelligence. There's so many interesting first degrees, bachelor's degrees you can study with a good foundation in liberal arts and sciences. You can continue doing 4 years with us, 3 years plus 1 year, or you can do 2 years, and we have several partner universities. We are adding those universities to our list. You can do a 2+2 program, or you can do a 3+1 with us. Then you can go on to do a master's or a PhD, or after 4 years, you can find an interesting job. We strongly encourage you to stay for 4 years so that you can find a good job, because 4-year training is needed to be good at whatever you do. Now, it is also useful if you do a 4-year program. You can get into a master's program in the US without any problem, because you know that US universities accept students straight to a master's program only if they complete 4 years. You can also do a 2+2 with one of our partner universities. Why our school, Thapar School of Liberal Arts and Sciences? We are ranked #1 private university in the country. Extraordinary group of faculty, colleagues, comparable to any top university in the world. Several global partnerships with 2+2 and semester exchange arrangements, wide selection of majors and minors. Absolutely a fantastic campus, green, and also our infrastructure is world class. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Nair, thank you so much. I have a few questions. I will just in the meanwhile stop your presentation as well. Great. Okay. So to start with, I just want to mention to all the audience who are there on YouTube, we have a chat option there, and we have one of our team members coordinating the whole show. So if you would want to ask a question, please put it in the chat box, and Mr. Thomas John will take it up from there, and we will try and get your question answered. So to start with, Dr. Nair, the first question is, how are the liberal arts programs useful for students wanting to pursue a master in science or a PhD in research sciences?
So that last part of the question I did not get.
Okay. How are the liberal arts programs useful for students wanting to pursue a master's in science or a PhD in research?
Absolutely. So when you do a liberal arts and sciences program with us, your foundation subjects are liberal arts and sciences, but you major in a particular area. If you want to study mathematics, you major in mathematics, then you can go on doing a master's in mathematics and a PhD in mathematics. Or if you major in physics, you do a master's in physics, and you can go on doing a PhD. Also, if you're majoring in physics and you are completing 4 years, and if you're, for example, you are going to the US, if you get a good GRE score, just after 4 years with a physics major from us, you can directly go into a PhD program. If you do a 4 years, you can either do a master's and a PhD, or you can straight away go and do a PhD. So your interest area, you will major in the area of your interest.
Got it. All right. So moving on to the next question, do we have colleges in India which recognize a liberal arts bachelor's in lieu of MSc or Mtech?
Yes, because your degree will not be just liberal arts degree. Your degree will be a chemistry degree, or a physics one, or a BCom, or a BBA. So the degree will show you have majored in a particular subject. That will be considered just like you get a regular BSc in physics or chemistry, or BA in economics or psychology. The advantage here is you have an interesting multidisciplinary foundation in addition to just a major. So that's the difference.
All right. Okay. So just to mention again to all the viewers right now, if you would have any questions, would request you to put it up on the chat box and we will take them up for you. Dr. Nair, we'll just hold on for a minute or two, just see if there are any more questions coming in.
So I want to clarify this more. Any major you do at the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, you will have all the opportunities of anyone doing a similar degree elsewhere. But one advantage is you can stay on for 4 years. If you want to straight away go for a PhD, that is possible. But you will have a lot more holistic education than just doing. So that is the advantage. So there is no disadvantage. The question is what major you want to major in, that you do.
Got it. All right. So now this being your first batch specifically, do you think that your combinations with respect to subjects and everything would increase as the years pass on?
Today, if you look at it, we offer more majors than any other school of liberal arts and sciences in the country, because we can draw from all the advanced engineering and science departments of Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. So today we have more majors and minors than any other school in the country.
Great. Awesome. Okay. So coming to the next part, one of our counselors, in fact, has just mentioned that you share such presentations which are there. So Dr. Nair, I would request you if you could, share this presentation with us, and we will share with the fellow viewers, and
Yes.
they can take it up from there. Okay. So all right. So they would want. All right. So the next viewers that we have, people would want to know about the internship program and any placement opportunities that you would want to throw light upon.
Yeah, see, this is a program we have started last year. If you complete 4 years, we don't see any problem with the placements. But if you look at Thapar University's placement history, we practically place more than 90% of the students. But my message to all students: placement is the result of a good learning done. So if you come in with an open mind, learn well, this country, our India, has more opportunities than we can provide graduates with. So there are more jobs than well-trained graduates anytime. So our goal is to train you well. You come in, study 4 years, get trained well. Placement for us is the least of our concerns, because it's very easy. The biggest concern is keep the motivation of student high so that we can help them learn well.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Nair. I think very valid words. So coming to the next question. All right. So now, because we've been speaking about placement. So it says, do you recommend placements to be taken right after graduation, or doing masters is better? Your opinion?
My opinion is definitely you should do a master's and be very rigorous and thorough in 1 or 2 areas. Then go for a job, and then you can think. Then you can decide, I want to go ahead with that kind of a career, or I want to go back and do a PhD. You should consider a good liberal arts and sciences education only if you think that I value learning, I value doing things better than ever, and I want to make a difference in my life and the world. Not just finding a job and somehow, or even if you're thinking, I want to do my own startup. This would be a very, very interesting starting point, because you will see the world differently.
All right. Okay. So the second last question, to take a majors in sciences, will the student need to come from a science stream in a school?
Not really.
Okay. Would you want to elaborate on this?
You see, the only constraint we have is with if there is a UGC requirement that 11th and 12th a student should have learned a particular subject to do a certain major. That is the only constraint we would have. But from our university point of view, I can confidently tell you, any student interested to major in something, we can first provide them a minor, even if there is a UGC restriction for them majoring. That's one point. And second point is, we can always facilitate a 2+2, because foreign universities don't normally worry about what they have studied in their high school. They only worried about, do they have the right preparation? That means they look at prerequisites. Say, for example, someone who has not at all studied chemistry ever, wanting to major in chemistry. So that person will get the introductory high school level courses in chemistry during the summer as a bridge course. Somebody never studied engineering, wanting to study majoring in engineering sciences, that student will get a bridge course in mathematics and physics during summer for doing that. So if there are no regulatory restrictions, we are open. Even if there are regulatory restrictions, after 2 years, if they go for a 2+2, they can. We will prepare them, and they can go and study whichever major they want. They need to. So you saw in my presentation, somebody studied French, ended up getting PhD in economics. Somebody studied history and linguistics, ended up doing a PhD in theoretical physics. He's one of the greatest theoretical physicists of today, and got the highest prize in mathematics. So these are our inspirations. That's what we want to. So that was also the reason I passionately talk about youngsters fighting against AICT, and they're kind of backing off from this idea that without mathematics and physics you can join engineering and do that during a bridge course. I think that is the way the world has already moved in that direction. We are still struggling to move. I can only tell you, it is the narrow-minded way of seeing the world is the biggest constraint to learning. So, but we want to open the minds of young scholars.
Great. I think that's a very noble thought here. So moving on to the next question, any light on the scholarships being offered at the institute?
Yeah, so this year we are planning to admit about 90 to 100 students. About 30 of them will get either a 50% scholarship of their tuition amount, or 30% or 20%. They will get the scholarship decision, they will get when they receive the admission letter. And they need to maintain more than a certain grade point average, I think 8 or 8.5 out of 10 to, that is first year they will get the scholarship, second and third and fourth years if they want to maintain, especially second and third years, because we are also considering all the students staying for the fourth year will straight get a 50% scholarship. All the students in the fourth year.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next question: can students go for a foundation course after class 11?
If they want to kind of experience, and if a course is offered online, we are more than happy to admit them as an audit student to observe and learn. We are open.
Okay. And the last question as of now, can you also please talk a little about the scope of environmental sciences?
Little about?
Environmental sciences.
Yes. At the school of, at the Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, we have an advanced center for energy and environment. So our focus is on sustainability. And sustainability, we look at through 6 unique lenses. A lens of education or expectancy, that's a bit complicated, but a lens of ethics, environment, essential materials, energy, and economics. So basically, we look at the science of sustainability through these 6 lenses. And we have developed the curriculum around, that's the kind of the starting philosophy. This framework we call our 6E framework is developed by us, and that is the basis for this. So we look at, you can study environmental sciences and also look at the business world. You can look at the supply chain and how do you make it more sustainable. Or you can look at and go into pure environmental sciences research, more from a plant biology or an agriculture point of view. You can also go into environmental sciences from fresh water point of view, potable water, or you can go into environmental sciences from the point of view of food security. Food security is not food science. It could also be sensors and um, uh, Internet of Things, and you can approach it more from an electronics engineering and computer science point of view. So we give an interesting general foundation, but they can go on doing advanced research in whichever the area. You can approach it from biology, botany, agriculture, computer science, electronics engineering. So that's how, or purely business and management sustainability, or even from the point of view of psychology and economics, or energy sciences.
Okay, okay, great, great, great. So I think, Dr. Nair, that brings us to the end of this webinar, and a few, open insights that you've given about the program and about the courses that are offered at the institution. So yeah, nothing from my end. Would you have any last words to say before we close the webinar, please?
If you're really interested to take up this challenge of critically looking at the world and go on to a journey of asking the most interesting questions, this is the place to be, and I can guarantee you that you will not be disappointed. We have such a group of great teachers and researchers. The program is going to be very rigorous. Initially, you would kind of feel that too much work because the transition from high school to university, but we are there to help all of you, and we also provide individual attention if a student is open to learning. Those are my concluding words. We want to see students who are passionate about changing themselves and doing something really exciting. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Nair. That was absolutely a pleasure to hear you and know about the institution and your thoughts and your ideology. Absolutely great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's watching us. Please stay tuned. Do subscribe to the iDreamCareer YouTube channel. We are looking at conducting one more webinar through Thapar University, most probably in the next week. If you would have any questions about the institution, please write into Ms. Radhika Kalia. Her email ID has already been shared on our chat box on the YouTube channel. Her email ID is radhika.kalia@thapar.edu. Thank you, Dr. Nair. Thank you, everybody who's behind putting up this webinar. Have a great evening. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.